Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. I'll talk about that later. For you, it is the 13th of March. For me, it's the Saturday night, so this is the Sunday morning briefing. I'm filming it on Saturday night, as I always do. I hope everyone's well. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you might know I've not been so well. The dreaded COVID came to town this week for all of us. So last Sunday, you might remember me telling you, was Ness's karate grading. Well, she got to do her karate grading, she got her red belt and she was so excited. In fact, I don't normally put a picture of her up, but I'm going to put a picture of her up here because she is so pleased with herself. And so, if you don't know, the junior belts, they start off with a white belt. Then they can go red and white together and then red. So it was her first grading and she managed to go from white to red, so she skipped about in between, so she was super chuffed with herself for that. And while we were out, so I took her down, the day was quite a long day, so she had a couple of hours training in the morning and then it was grading in the afternoon, so I dropped her off for training and then went back down for the grading. And in the meantime, Chris tested positive for COVID. He hadn't been feeling well, but nothing that suggested COVID. So yeah, and that was sort of came out of the blue. Sorry. And then I obviously tested because I knew Ness was out of the house. I was negative, which was good. We tested Ness as soon as she got home and she was negative as well. So yeah, the COVID didn't come into the house through me. My teacher immune system was still working really well until it came into our house. So yeah, he tested positive on the Sunday. I was still negative and was able to go to work Monday and Tuesday, and I was actually testing twice a day. I was testing in the morning and I was testing when I got home in the evening. And so I was negative on the Tuesday morning, and then when I tested when I got home on the Tuesday evening, I was positive then, but only very faintly. And I was feeling, you know, like a really heavy cold coming on, and then temperature just went sky high, and for the first couple of days I just had to take paracetamol sort of every 4 hours regardless, really, because the temperature would just keep creeping up. And I don't know, I think I would say I've had a medium bout. I've had all my injections, my vaccinations, my boosters and everything like that, and I would say I've had like a medium bout. It wasn't the no symptoms 5 days sat in front of the TV stitching COVID that I'd ordered, put it that way. But yeah, I kept feeling okay for a little bit, and then temperature would blow up again, and then feel quite and then sleepy and tired, and so it's been going backwards and forwards like that. And then Ness tested positive on Thursday, I think, so there's been like a couple of days between each of us. So she was already off school anyway. We decided to keep her off because I couldn't take her to school because I had A-level lessons. I was really super keen not to miss my A-level lessons. And Ness's teacher is pregnant as well, so we didn't want, even though she was negative, we didn't want to run the risk of her being in school and at some point becoming positive during the day. So we'd already decided to keep her off anyway, so she can go back next Wednesday, I think, if she tests clear. So in Wales, we're slightly different to the rest of, well, slightly different to England, I'm not sure about Scotland, but we are still, until the end of March, having to isolate for 5 days, and then if you have a clear lateral flow test on the 5th day and the 6th day, then you can go back into the world in general. And I say the 28th of March, I'm not sure. I know a lot of our restrictions are going on the 28th of March. I don't actually know what is going on the 28th of March. I might be talking out of turn there. So I thought my 5th and 6th days were Saturday and Sunday, but when Test Track and Trace phoned me, they said they count it as Sunday and Monday. So I've got to do an early test on Sunday morning. So when I'm putting all the bits of the briefing together to be released, I've got to do an early test then, and then an early test on Monday morning. And if it's clear both of those times, I can go to work on Monday. But you've got to have 2 clear tests with 24 hours separating them. So if I'm not completely clear tomorrow, then I've got to wait another day and see about going back in on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens. I do feel a lot better today than I did yesterday, so I've just got a bit of a cough going on. So I think I've just had all the classic symptoms really. Chris was about the same. Ness has just been kind of, you know what kids are like when they're not feeling quite well, but they just seem to drag up this energy from somewhere to be frustratingly kind of, I'm keeping going, and then they just crash. So yeah, she's been like that. One of the big symptoms that they don't tell you about COVID is massive irritability, and I'm putting that one down to COVID for me. I've been so furious all week with everybody. Furious with the dog, furious with the dishwasher, furious with just anything. So yeah, strike that down as a symptom, just being generally furious. Right, but I have done a reasonable amount of stitching, which, you know, every cloud has a silver lining and all that. So I'm going to show you what I've done. I've got 2 finishes and a couple of other things that I've worked on. So I'm going to show you my finishes first. Now, one of them, if you see me on Instagram, you will know I stitched this up in the last couple of days. This is Needle and Thread by Heart in Hand, and I'm just thinking, the reason I suddenly stopped there is because I put it on Instagram and I think I tagged Hands On Design in it, and I think she was kind enough to say it looked nice. Oh, I'll have to check now. I'll have to check. Whoops. Heart in Hand, and I got this as part of a D-stash. Now, every time I mention a D-stash, everyone says, where do you get the D-stashes from? So if you go onto Facebook and you search for groups, or you search and what will come up is groups. So cross stitch for sale in the UK, D-stash in the UK. So some of them are specific cross stitch sites, some of them are more general craft sites, and people put things up. People put things up there that they want to D-stash. So Lainey Main, who a lot of you will probably know from Instagram, put a few things up, and I bought a couple of things from her, and one of them was this. Now, Lainey is really super famous for doing brilliant colour conversions, and she often stitches things in none of the called for colours on not the called for fabric, and it ends up looking completely different. So I really like this chart, but then when it arrived, I think a little bit of Lainey might have rubbed off on me, because when I was searching in my box, the colour that I found that I really liked was green. I'm just going to hold this up because it's going to go in a little tart pan, so all I've got at the moment is this little bit. So I mean, put it over here because it's actually a very pale pink, it's not a white. So it says, my soul is fed with needle and thread, and there's a couple of mistakes on the soul. A couple of those letters are a bit too long, so there's a little bit of weirdness there, but it's only one line out, it's all fine. It just needed a little bit of a fudge and move on. So I really like that. So again, I just picked colours that I could reach, because that's been my colour picking method. I've normally sit with like a band of threads sat right up behind me, just all my little sort of odd over-dyed threads, and so sometimes I just look on the hoop and go, right, that'll do, that'll do. And so because I haven't been wanting to go ferreting for stuff, I just picked with what was ever within easy reach, and it's going to go into, I just need to fix it in because it sits a little bit higher, so I don't know how easy it's going to be to make it sit where I want it to sit, but it's going to sit in a little tart pan like that. Like I say, it's not sitting right in the bottom of the tart pan, so it's there. It's going to look like that. I don't know whether I'm going to put a border on it. I don't think I am, because I've got some nice puntini pins that I want to put in the top of it, and I think, to be honest, for me, that will be enough. So there's that. So I finished that. The other thing I finished was a new start, and the reason that I did it was because I had planned to actually we thought that when Ness was in for her grading, we just had to sit and wait, and there weren't any sort of opportunities for you know, being able to watch or anything like that. And that turned out not to be quite the case. So I'd planned to just sit in the car and stitch. And I didn't get the chance to do that in the end. I did keep well away from everybody else, don't worry. But I've been wanting to start this for ages. And so I did this one. When I got home from karate, I did this one. So there it is. It's one of the Bristol berries. Now, I don't think it's in here. It is done in a sulky, and I don't think it's in here. I think it's in my coat pocket. Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you for why it's in my coat pocket. Because I didn't realise, I didn't look that closely at the pattern, I didn't realise there was some over one. And obviously this is a 36 count, and you can't really do over one with sulky. Not on 36 count anyway. So I thought, oh, that's okay. There'll be a currency conversion, a DMC conversion. And I looked at the DMC conversion, and it was nothing like what it should have been. The conversion for it was 304, which is a really cherry red. And so this is not a cherry red. If anything, it's a brownie red. And I'll put the colour number down the bottom if anyone's interested. And so I pulled out a silk which looked to be a similar colour at night, but when I stitched it and looked at it the next day, it's too orange. It's all right from a distance, but it is too orange. So on the Monday after school, I was able to nip into our local, it's just like a local haberdashers, and they stock Anchor. And so I took the reel in and I just matched the closest Anchor, because I needed to do it in person. I needed to have it right in front of me. So I will pull out that 1836 and I will restitch it. And I did start, and it is really the most abysmal start. It's blowing out a little bit there. I did start the mini sampler that goes with it as well. So I did start that. And there's actually two other berries in this one. There's the berry that you can see there, which is the small squirrel, which is the same size as the one I've stitched. Or there is a chart for a big squirrel, which would make a really, really big strawberry. So I may do that one next, because I quite like the idea of a big squirrel. But now I know how big they are, I'll try and do my placement a little bit better next time. So I've worked on those. Don't ask me why, I just haven't worked on anything really that I showed you last week. I just seem to want to start other things. I've shown you this on Instagram. Did I bring up the chart? Yes, I did. And so I decided that when I was sort of in isolation, I was going to try and do a good chunk of work on one particular chart. And so I chose the Blue Flower Huckleberry Farm, which is one of my most favourite charts that's ever been released, and I just haven't worked. So I've done a reasonable amount. Now this is on a 38 count, and a 38 count sometimes has been okay to work on. Other times I found it just a little bit too much on the old COVID eyes. I don't know if that's a thing, but COVID eyes. So, excuse the folded fabric. I've done quite a lot in the top there, and I had to send out to Create Nostalgia for some more threads. I had some that I needed to get, and of course they were ones that I needed for the top row. So yeah, they had all of the ones that I needed, and obviously I had to add something else to my cart as well, and I'll show you that when I get there. So yeah, the only other thing that I did, just as a little nod to having stitched on it while I have COVID, is I changed my H I don't know if you can see that. It should have had a row of crosses in the middle, and I've just changed it so it's just got 2 positive lines. So if anybody's ever seen a lateral flow test or taken one with positive, you get 2 purple lines, a bit like a pregnancy test. But I'm not pregnant, and you don't pee on them. So that's what I did. So I just know that I've worked on that bit while I had COVID. Well, I have COVID. And the other thing I worked on as part of my hashtag marching orders, trying to get things finished in March, I picked up the drawn thread. I picked it up and I've left it downstairs. Okay, I'll show you the pattern. It's this one. There we go. And I've obviously changed the flag in the middle. I would have liked to have changed it to a Union Jack, but it was so hard to rechart the way that the outline of the flag has to be. And the Union Jack with all its horizontals and diagonals, it was so hard. So I just changed it to a George Cross. So I'm going to put a picture of it up there. I haven't done much more work on it since I took the picture. So that's my next marching order, as it were, that I'm going to try and get finished in March. So I'm having a bit of success getting them done. A little bit of startitis, but hey ho, I'm allowed to do whatever I like. And then the last thing I've started, and I haven't done too badly on this, and I think I started this one A, because the fabric was right next to my chair, and B, because the 38 count again was just a little bit too small sometimes. So I started this one, and this was another chart that I got from Lainey, I think. It might not have been, actually. I've had several things from a D-stash come, so I take it back. This may not have been one that I got from Lainey, but I got it from somebody. And it's Plum Street Samplers, Count Twice, Stitch Once. And I like the colours on this, and I happen to have a piece of pink fabric. Now I don't even know if this is, no, it's not pink fabric, but it's just the way the photograph looks. It looks almost like a pink fabric. It was stitched on 36 count vintage Meadow Rue. Well, not going to get that, am I? But I had a pinky fabric and I thought it would look quite nice on. So I've changed the colours a little bit. So I liked the kind of bluey grey of the lettering, but I couldn't find a bluey grey that I had that was in reach that looked nice on this fabric. So I actually switched it out for Calico Kitty, and I'll show you that in a minute. And so there is a funny story behind this one as well. You'll see it's got the COVID H on it. So what was I going to tell you? I was going to show you Calico Kitty. That's the trouble now. I don't know if I've got COVID brain. I've just got like old woman's brain. The same kind of failing brain that I had before. But at least I can blame it on something now, can't I? I probably had baby brain for far longer than I should have as well. At some point I'm just going to have to admit that it's just my brain. Anyway, so there's Calico Kitty. So it's kind of got like raspberry reds or raspberry pinks in it, and a sort of a dirty beige, dirty peach. I'm not selling it, am I? So and then I liked the red flowers, so I kind of did a bit of a clashy match, so I quite like it. Now read that, count twice, stitch once. Good advice. This woman has got one too many buttons. So in order for her to have been able to hold that bird cage, or whatever it's meant to be, she would have had to have 8 arms like a chimpanzee. Hence why the cage is now on like a shepherd's crook. And I'm not quite sure what she's going to do with her shoes. I think that her skirt has just become longer than it was, and so I think I'm going to be able to do just like one single row of her shoes poking out from there. But hey ho, the irony is not lost on me. And I'm going to make it into a drum, and I have got a couple of little bits of fabric actually. When I ordered that Teresa Kogut fabric, which everyone loved last week, and I think they've sold out, but I know they're getting more, so if you're interested, I'll put the shop details down below again. It's called Pincushion, and I can't quite remember where it is, but at Janette_Dodd is the person that works there that showed me the fabric after I'd liked it like a year ago. So I don't know if they've got a wait list, but certainly if you phoned them and told them that you wanted some, I'm sure they'd be pleased to know that you were after some. So they included a couple of little just samples of another fabric. This one I really like. It's called, well, it says Anastasia on the corner there, and then it says PB Boutique. I don't know, I don't recognise that, but that's kind of got the sort of colours on that I was going for in this piece. So the kind of pink and red matchy clashy sort of thing. So I think I'm going to use that either as the top and the bottom, or perhaps that one, but I think probably the darker one, because why not? Why not? So yeah, I think that is everything that I've stitched on this week. You can tell I'm just like casually chucking it over there now. It's quite nice because this is our spare room, and I've been sleeping in here the last few nights. Originally because I was trying not to catch COVID, and then after that because, you know, it's like when you're hot and just like temperature, you just don't want anybody near you. And then the first night Ness caught it. She was like, Mum, I want to sleep in with you. I was like, okay, darling, you come and sleep in with me. So she slept in the bed, and she was like kind of like a cruise homing missile. So I'd sort of like move away from her, and then even in her sleep she'd kind of like snuffle over and like snuggle right up next to me, and she was roasting hot and I was roasting hot, and you can tell it probably it wasn't necessarily the best night's sleep I've ever had. But the other good thing about being sick is you can have a nap in the day. Again, every cloud has a silver lining. Go back to this one. This one I did a giveaway for last week because the lovely Vivienne from Vivsters, or the Vivsters, said I could. And I have drawn the chart, or drawn the winner, and I have written the winner down on this week's freebie. So the winner was Adele Cotton. So Adele, if you get in touch with me, you can either email me or drop me a DM on Instagram, and I will pass your email address on to Viv, and she will send out your free chart to you. So congratulations to that, and well done to everyone who entered. There was lots and lots of people who entered for that one because it's a fabulous chart. Right, freebie. I picked this one out. Something about this one I really liked. I've been harping on about the fact that I don't really like spring colours because I'm not really into pastels, and some of the ones I've shown you have been pastels, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they've got their time and their place. Maybe I like my pastels, maybe I just don't like baby pink and baby blue. So this one is called The Earth Laughs in Flowers, which I thought was a really nice springy one. It's by Beth Twist from Heartstrings Darnbury. I'll put a picture of it up here in like a, sorry, just kicked you, in like a colour version. If you go on to Beth Twist Heartstrings Darnbury, you can see that she's also changed her Christmas freebie, and I should have looked at this more closely, and it said something about may peace reside within this home or something, and she's now changed it to may peace reside within this globe. So if you're looking for a sort of supportive stitch for the things that are still awfully going on in the Ukraine, then you could maybe want to have a look over there. I'll link it down below. Right, I've got two epic things to show you now, and I've got giveaways for both of them. Now, a little while ago, when Ruthie from Crowsfeetstitching messaged me first about showing a couple of her charts that she designed for Christmas, she told me at the time that she was working on a couple of samplers, which we've seen and which I've done giveaways for. And she'd also said at the time that she had a Norfolk sampler. And she was working on charting the Norfolk sampler. And I said at the time, oh great, you know, I'd love to see it when you finished it. So, good to her word, she sent me the Norfolk sampler. And she sent me the drum. And she said that I could do a giveaway for each of them. Now, these are epic. Now, if you want a big sampler, then this is the girl for you. Now, she has got lots and lots of information about this sampler and about where she thinks it's come from and things like that. I honestly haven't had a chance to read through. I'm not sure I'd have remembered any of it if I had read it anyway. But yeah, so this is, let me get her name right, Mary Ann Kittle, 1813. So this is the actual sampler, I believe. And she has charted it. It runs to some 16 pages. And they are, I'll just give you a quick flip, pretty sizable pages. Now she's got all these brilliant diagrams about how you would actually stitch it, what you would need to do. Lots and lots of information. As I said, I haven't had a chance to read through yet. So there is that one. So if you would like to win a copy of this chart, if you put the word Mary, let's just go for Mary, something nice and easy, Mary, in your comment, then I will know to search for that. I'm probably going to leave this one open 2 weeks, I think, just to give everybody a chance to make sure they enter for that. Now, the other thing is Ruthie has taken, and let me just show you on the sampler there, I don't know if you can see, she's taken the centre, well not the centre, this section at here, let me tap the right finger, the one that's on the camera, and she's turned it into a drum using that and one of the birds from here, and it's absolutely glorious. Look at that. I think that is such a beautiful drum, and I love this panel work here. So the drum itself, there we go, I was hoping, now she gives you full instructions about how to make it, but that is the panel work for the drum. So it's got 3 panels with deer, and they could be lions sunning themselves under a tree maybe, and then you can see, there we go, I'm going to show you this bit because it gives you a really nice close-up of it. You can see the drum top there just before she finished it and stuffed it and everything, and that's it finished. Now it's all charted in DMC, and so if you like the idea of doing a sampler but maybe you weren't quite there with doing such a big sampler, because she is big, let me just see if I can find the stitch count on the main sampler. Let me just have a look. .229 by 288. So it's not huge, but it's still a good size sampler. So if you fancied the design of it and the colours of it, which I think are beautiful, and you wanted something a little bit smaller, you could go for the drum. To be perfectly honest, it's worth it just for that drum lid. I think that drum lid's amazing. So if you want one of those, a chance to win one of those, let's go for drum, and then I will enter you. You can enter for both if you want to, that's absolutely fine. You can find these, if you can't wait, you can find these on Ruthie's Etsy, which is Crowsfeetstitching. You don't need to do that twice, let's do it once. Crowsfeetstitching, all one word. So Mary, if you want to enter for the full sampler, drum if you want to enter for the drum, and yeah, I'm so grateful to you, Ruthie. Thank you so much for sending me these, because these are really special. So I can't wait to get on. I'm definitely going to get started on the drum, and keep my sights on that sampler, because it is beautiful. Right, I've got a little bit of haul, a little bit lot to show you, and then I'm going to be done. I am going to stop just because I need to reach it and it's over there. So 2 seconds. Okay. So I've got a little pile of stuff here. I did have a small order come from 123 Stitch, so I've got that in there as well. So the first thing I purchased was this. I got this from the Jeff P. Smith eBay seller, which is listed in my contacts below. They have really good stuff. It's always well priced, and it comes really quickly. So some of you may know Trudy, actually. She does a lot of the stitching shows. So if you've ever been to the stitching shows, I can't think what her surname is. Smith. I'm sure it's Smith, because that would make sense, wouldn't it? Talk amongst yourselves. You probably know her from those. Now, my only issue with this is that it says Arctic Lights, and penguins don't live in the Arctic. They live in the Antarctic. So it's not going to be the Aurora Borealis. Could be the Southern Lights, but there's going to have to be some stitching changed there, because that's just going to bug me too much. I do like the words on them. I know some people take the words off altogether. I do like the words on them. I may see if I can use the wording and put it across the bottom or something, Antarctic Lights or Southern Lights, but yeah, I will do something with it. Because scientifically it's not correct, and so therefore it's not happening. I picked up one of these when I ordered the threads from Create Nostalgia. Part of me thinks that it was a good excuse just to chuck this in, because this will be my 4th one. I've got 2 Mill Hills to finish, and I will get around to doing a Mill Hill finishing video, because I have had a few questions. So if you've got a Mill Hill to finish and you're waiting for me to do a video, I'm on it. I am on it, honest. So I got this one. This was the lovely card that Lainey sent me in with my purchases, and like I said, I can't actually remember which ones I got from her now, but anyway, I know this wasn't one of them because this one came today. This was Hickety Pickety, which I got from a D-stash. Now I'll tell you who's just finished this. Debbie from Creatively Yours has just finished this, and it looked amazing, so I was super pleased to know that I had this winging its way to me already. And I got this one, and Rudolph, which I've liked for ages, but doesn't always come up very often. That won't take very long to finish. I fancy maybe doing that in a purple, really dark purple. A purple. There we go. Right. I do know which ones I got from Lainey. I got these 2 from Lainey as well. I got Indigo Lane, which I've liked for ages and ages and just never pulled the trigger on, but as soon as I was ordering a couple of others from her, I thought I might as well just grab it. And Spring Serenade. Now, if you don't follow Lainey on Instagram, seriously, I would recommend going and looking at her and following her, because she does some amazing colour conversions, which I've already mentioned. So it might just give you a fresh look at some charts if you think, oh, I don't like the colours on that one, or it's not for me. Have a look at what Lainey's doing, because she's doing some really fantastic, unusual things. And it's always nice to see a different choice. So it was those 2 and my needle is fed. No, my soul is fed with needle and thread. And I got this one, Spirits and Spells, because I knew I'd already picked up that one. So there's that one. I don't know how many more of those there are. How many more of those sort of small oval ones there are. Is there one for each season? I don't know. And then I picked up this one as well, Little House Needleworks Needle and Thread. There's a little bit of a theme here appearing. So what does it say? It says, needle and thread, when starlight fades, I lay them to bed. Not always. Not always. And then, yeah, just left is my 1, 2, 3 stitch order. So, I ordered these bits. And I'm trying to tell you which one I really went for and then made up the order with, but I can't remember which one I had decided I was indispensable in the end. I've always liked this one, which is called Jingle All the Way by Little House Needleworks. Something about that barn, I really like that one. Oh, I know which one it was that I really wanted. Well, I really wanted all of them, but you know what I mean. This one, Official Snow Guide. Now I saw someone selling this on a D-stash and they wanted quite a lot for it, and I knew that 1, 2, 3 Stitch had it cheaper, so I got it for that. Now it says 2-inch snowball fight, 4-inch build a snowman, 6-inch buy a shovel, 8-inch cancel school. I am going to be changing this. I'm going to put a 1/2 inch in up here and it's going to say 1/2 inch cancel school. Sorry, I keep getting a really deep voice. And then 2-inch, 4-inch. So I'm going to rejig that one a little bit. And I also got this one. Now, I've always loved this, and I don't intend to do with it what I should be doing with it, because it's actually a chart for an Afghan. And this was actually on sale. So this was a chart for an Afghan. And an Afghan, to me, beautiful, but takes a billion DMCs to do, and I'm still not really sure what I would do with it. So I love this because to me it looks like you're looking through a window, and these are all the window panes. So I'm just going to stitch this normally, leaving the gaps for what would be the Afghan, those, you know what I'm talking about. And then, yeah, it's just going to be like that. It's just like it's looking through a window. And it's because of the Black Labrador, I think. I've always liked that one. Because, yeah, that's the DMC list. And if you're stitching it on a fireside Afghan, you need 5, 6, 7 skeins of some of them. So that would be super expensive to do as an Afghan. And I'm not going to put that in there because one of the things that I've been furious at is inserting inanimate objects. And so I'm not going to. And then I got my first piece of Lakeside as well, because they had some Lakeside. And I know that it's not something that happens that often. And so they had a piece of Lakeside wood smoke. So this is a fat 1/8, I think. Yeah, I think it's a fat 1/8 of Lakeside wood smoke. And so it's a really, really nice colour. So I just wanted to see what all the fuss was about, really. So seems really nice. Really nice. I shall enjoy. Right, that's it from me and my disease. I shall see you next week when hopefully COVID has done one and I'm feeling a lot better. Stay classy, stitchers.